So one of the things that I've done to pass the pandemic time is in partnership with my daughter, Addie. We've taken some time to indulge in a few of the things that we both love. Hamilton, Marvel superhero movies, Harry Potter, and ice cream. So all of these experiences include watching, talking, and eating some of our ice cream while we're doing it. And the Harry Potter indulgence actually included our own mini book club. We read each book before we would watch the movie and eat our ice cream. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the world of Harry Potter, I can't imagine you are, but in case you are, it's a 7-book epic that takes us through the hero journey of the young wizard Harry Potter. We follow Harry as he discovers the mysterious and wonderful world of magic. He battles the Dark Lord Voldemort, and of course, spoiler alert, emerges victorious. His mentor along the way is one Professor Albus Dumbledore. Now, as Harry's magical prowess evolves and grows through the books, Dumbledore continually insists on a basic premise: that no matter how wild or wonderful the magical spells that Harry learns how to do, that undoubtedly the most powerful magic of all is love. And in one of their more memorable confrontations later in the books, Harry learns that he must face Lord Voldemort to the death, and all the pain that Voldemort seeks to unleash on the world. It does not help that Harry is 16 and in the throes of teenage angst and rebellion. As Harry faces this uncertainty, this discomfort, this anxiety, he scoffs at this trite and romantic notion of Dumbledore's. After all, Harry's experienced tremendous pain and loss in his short life. And he's no frame of mind to accede to Dumbledore's Pollyannish view of magic in the world. However, Dumbledore remains steadfast in maintaining that the power of love is the most powerful thing in facing the evil of the Dark Lord. He states very simply, you are protected by your ability to love. As we begin the year 5781 and still have plenty of 2020 to go, I must confess that I feel like Harry, but I want to believe like Dumbledore. I feel weary, frustrated, anxious, and afraid. I feel like the most powerful tools we have at our disposal, science, democracy, technology among them, are overwhelmed by the nature of the darkness that we face. As Americans, we feel like our great society is coming apart at the seams as old wounds like racism continue to fester and metastasize, while more recent maladies in leadership and vision create more division and chaos. Simultaneously, the other nation where we find our connection finds itself stricken with leadership as corrupt, demagogic, and bombastic as here in the U.S. As human beings, we face a virus that threatens the well-being of all of us and our loved ones, as well as our very ability to connect, collaborate, and create community with one another. I'm not speaking only in generalities. I've not even mentioned the personal challenges that so many of us face related to health or finances or family strife that only deepen these intense feelings at this moment in time. And in spite of all the things that I feel in this awful moment, feeling just like Harry does, I still find myself compelled by Dumbledore. Love is still our greatest magic, our greatest power, our greatest tool. And it's not just me and Dumbledore. The wisdom of all the great mature religious traditions, including ours, say the exact same thing. For thousands of years, we Jews have organized ourselves around this cosmic force that the word love only begins to describe. Really? You may be wondering, love? Judaism, it doesn't sound quite Jewish. I mean, it's not like we're against love, right? But that sounds like other traditions who talk about love in that way. Well, let me suggest this to you. The moment that we organize ourselves around, we Jews, is the Sinai moment. Perhaps that's even the moment, the experience we seek to return to as we make teshuvah these 10 days of repentance. In many summaries or understandings of this moment in our story, our myth, we probably think of it as more of a law and order moment. Legalistic, God lays down the law to the Israelites. Follow me and only me. Do these things. Don't do those things, and everything will be okay. Just trust me. Actually, it's a bit more nuanced than that. If we consider the Sinai moment, how our tradition looks at it. If you look in your prayer book, the one we use to this very day, and the way the sages organized our prayers and what they're about, do you know where they placed this moment, how they title it? What happens right before the Shema, if you're not sure. But if you're a morning person, the prayer is called Ahavat Olam. If you're more of a night person, it's Ahava Rabbah. But they both mean the same thing. The sages call the prayer that talks about the Sinai moment, they labeled it the unending, unlimited, abundant moment of love. What they saw, what they teach us, that moment describes in our mythological story, not law and order, not legal stuff, but an encounter with one of the most fundamental forces of the universe, love. Whoa, Rabbi, you might be saying. You're talking about forces of the universe? That sounds more like science, not religion. You better stay in your lane. Others might be wondering or reacting similar to Harry Potter, the teenage Harry Potter, that it all sounds a little too hokey, too touchy-feely, too Hollywood. I would suggest consider something else. That what I'm speaking about is more complex and mysterious than what we think of as love in culture or society. It's more complex and mysterious even than that wisp, that touch of love we experience when we love our partners, our children, or any of our loved ones. I would suggest that it is a force, this love, of nature as much as gravity is, as much as electromagnetic forces or nuclear forces. And what we feel with those we love is just a smaller manifestation of this cosmic force. The expression of law and order from the Sinai moment is a human expression of the unitive and progressive nature of this force. Love gets us together. Love connects us. Our lives and our world realize our best when we authentically respect, honor, cultivate, and align ourselves with this power. Now, each of us knows the true and essential nature of love. And each of us, human beings, also encounters the stumbling blocks to remembering that. So what do we do in this historical moment that's so overwhelming? Well, even if you know me well enough to give me the benefit of the doubt, consider the implications of the possibility that what we can do in this moment of darkness is turn to love. Our sages, our tradition, the mature best part of it, has always suggested this. From the Sinai moment to each and every generation saying, how do we manifest this? How do we bring Sinai? How do we bring love into our world? In the great ethical Musar text called the Palm Tree of Deborah, the sage Morges Cordero suggests that qualities of love manifest. He gives us a list. He says, if you do these things, love shows up. Provide a child with all the necessities of his or her sustenance and love that child. Visit and heal the sick. Give charity to the poor. Offer hospitality to strangers. Attend to the dead. Bring a bride and groom to the chuppah, to the marriage canopy. Make peace between a person and their fellow human being. I might add a few things to Cordero's list for our day and age. Wear masks, stay distanced, make sure everyone votes, declare and act like Black Lives Matter. Get out there and know and collaborate with the other, whether the other is Black or Hispanic or Christian or Muslim or Democrat or Republican. And then, well, to realign with this cosmic force, we must remember the nature of that Sinai moment in our stories. It's not history, it's not law and order, it's not a moment that's limited to time or space. It's a moment, it's an experience that happens right now if we are ready and prepared and open to the possibility. Maybe, just maybe, we begin in the place where we find the most obvious and accessible aspect of this cosmic force in our relationships. Meaningful, rich, uplifting relationships are what make life worth living and are the most fertile place which we encounter love. It doesn't matter how much stuff we may collect, where we live, how much power or influence we think we wield in the world. Relationships are the secret sauce to life. They are the gateway to love. In my life and in my privileged 26 years of being a rabbi, I find this truth taught to me over and over again. I'll tell you, never once in the intimate moments that I'm privileged to sit with someone who is dying, or with loved ones who have just faced the death of someone close to them, have relationships not been the focus of the narrative that they told to me. It may not have been an accurate narrative, but it doesn't matter. It's what they clung to. From the moments that people faced their end, their finity, and the prospect of the unknown nothingness that lay beyond, what they continually chose and choose to relish, embrace, lament, and celebrate were the people they loved, the relationships that formed the landscape of their lives. I distinctly remember one of the conversations with someone who was dying, someone near and dear to the Temple Micah community. On Yom Kippur, our congregants' hour is named for Al Goldberg and his wife, Judy Goldberg. Al died more than a decade ago. When I went to visit him, he was not his best self, at least physically. He was horizontal on the couch in his living room. He was unable to sit up. His face was unshaven. His skin was sallow. He was a shadow of the man I had known. He was sleeping a lot, and when he awoke, he was more hazy than not. As we had a few moments alone, he rallied to wake and fight through his haze. He shared memories of his mother, his wife, and his kids. And then with all the strength he could muster, he asked me a question in a whispered yet intense tone. "Rabbi, do you know what it's all about?" "No, tell me." "Love, love, love." He clasped my hand a little tighter, and then the fogginess returned. It wasn't a new idea, it wasn't a radical one, but it made it no less memorable or any less true. We come together at these high holidays, these 10 days of teshuvah, of awe, to return to what is authentic, essential about us and our lives, to return to those mythical moments that capture the essence of life and its significance, to return to Sinai. So tonight, as we seek this return, as the shadows of anxiety and fear hover around us, may we return and realign with the most potent, fundamental, cosmic force there is: love. It's all about that. As we realign, may we encounter its magic, its power. And may it lead us to a year that is filled with meaning, with joy, and with peace. Amen.